So here today, first of all, like we have around 50 days for prelims. So if you're watching this session weekly, I do come, and my intention is if you have taken any of these plan, 35 days revision program, or you are undergoing any diagnosis test or anything which you are doing under part of revision, whatever has been shared by me or a part of my subscription team. So you have any doubt which is there, you can open up and discuss. And I also kind of collect or respond over WhatsApp. Many times I see it is very difficult for people to have a one-on-one and open up, but आप यहाँ पे कर सकते हैं, ऐसा कुछ ये नहीं. And so this session today here, which I'm currently going to take, is basically because we are now 50 days to revision or 50 days to the prelims. So I'll keep it something which we revise for today. So this lecture which I'll take now, it's a revision lecture. I'll just go through points. I'm not going to tell stories or narratives. It's not a full lecture. It's more of a revision lecture, some important points. Apart from that, I will be then, when you see it uploaded in the uh, uh, YouTube, you'll realize that also there is a link to practice workbook. The workbook will have MCQs of, UPSC standard of from this topic, which would include previous year's question also and whatever areas we touch upon here. That will help you to, you know, run through your revision through MCQs, and that is the intention of these sessions. Uh, I also encourage that why YouTube, not like what's the reason of YouTube? So in YouTube videos, you can actually change the speed of the YouTube. So here, if you increase the speed to 1.25 in YouTube once the video is uploaded, your then my narration will be like faster, and you will be able to just recall things. Okay, this I have done, this I have done, this I'm aware, this I'm not aware, and this is how in your revision note you can say, okay, this topic I don't know, I need to look back to the resource. So that way, intention is the YouTube and something which is very much accessible to you. Not apps and multiple things. More Mostly I try to keep general. Then another query which I get is I speak while many of you attend, who are attending are from pan India. So I keep it more English centric and for English medium student only. But then also there are challenges that they want me to speak Hindi or then what I actually intend to say here is that wherever you feel that आपको कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा जो मैं कह रहा हूँ और which I'm saying and you're not able to understand, you have to tell me that, sir, I did not understand. And maybe in WhatsApp or however, I will try to come to the language and, speak. So there's no challenge as such that I do not know Hindi or I don't understand English or something. But as all of us Indians, there's one challenge. My English will have some accent of my local feel. Your English will have some accent. Everybody will have some or other plus or minus. But let's not figure out on those things, but focus more on the exam. We need to have the skill of seeing the MCQ, know from which topic it is coming, and tick mark the right answer and move on to the next question. So I hope you have been able to uh, be a part of any of this revision program. So, so if you're joining right now, I would say that use the chat function or raise your hand function to ask any doubt. But otherwise, today's session, I'll take not much time, but I'll just introduce something about history, ancient history. So in UPSC, one of the most prominent question which comes is about history, and especially from the Indus Valley civilization wise. Why it is very important? Why we need to ask this question again and again? Every batch who has given some exam of UPSC, either in prelims or mains, they will ask about Indus Valley civilization. Now let's consider today we are at standing at 2025. Okay. And then suddenly what happens? Our excavators or uh, paleontologists or extra historians, archaeologists, they are digging somewhere. Or maybe a railway line is being made somewhere in, say south or somewhere. And suddenly they come up with a relic which shows with carbon dating that, my God, the history of human is much, much older than what exactly we have been studying. What is going to happen? This this situation happened in Indian scenario. We did not learn about our history. When British came, they started all this thing. Archaeology survey, archaeologist, excavator, they started all this story of knowing the history of the man. They already knew about the history of the man, which they learned from their own excavation of UK. And Britishers felt everything started with them, so everything have started with Great Britain. So they had a history saying that the man from Africa or man from UK, Scotland, and then all these kind of stories. When they came to India, their intention was not to find about history. They were rather surprised that how is it possible that these people who are currently living in this, in that 18th, 16th, 17th, 18th century are so well connected about their history. How is that in their culture? So that is how that led them to research more about history and know more about, the people of this area. So the first part was how we start the ancient history, either in school books or also through NIOS books, open school book. We start with the prehistoric journey of India. In the prehistoric journey, we have to understand that where there is no written records, there is no written records, there is no book documentation. And how are we doing or understanding it is prehistoric? Through carbon dating, and knowing the age of whatever fossil is found. Any tools are found, any rock art are found. So these provides the insights. So that prehistoric time is divided into four major division: Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, and Chalcolithic. Now these are all Greek words where paleo means stone, lithic means stone, paleo means old. So here you can see the timeline, something you can remember or visualize and remember. That is 10,000 BC. Before that, that is Paleolithic age. Mesolithic age from 10,000 to 6,000 BC, Middle Stone Age. Neolithic age from 6,000 to 1,000 BC, New Stone Age. And then Chalcolithic age from 3000 to 1000 BC, Copper Stone Age. You can easily guess because copper was used in the civilization, hence Copper Stone Age. And Neolithic age is because stone tools were used, new kind of stone tools were Neolithic. Meso was medium stone tool, and Paleo means old stone. So that is how it is. Now, in our Indian scenario, we rather confuse ourselves, because we learn a lot about Indian mythology also. We try to understand. They say Ram Rajya tha, Ram kab the, when was Ram? Dwarka was there, when was Dwarka there? Where, so these people provide proof of carbon dating and this that. Scientifically, it says that the Neolithic age was Ram Rajya age, and then Chalcolithic age around that comes out the Dwarka age. But honestly, those are from the uh, the evidence of whatever has been found. So archaeologically, we are speaking like that. Archaeologically, even today, the search is happening in area of Kurukshetra, that whether there was a nuclear war happened, whether there was any of those uh, data you can the things are available or not. So they are trying to understand, in fact, decode things in that. But we'll focus to the NCRT kind of a work. So in Paleolithic age, what was basically humans' work? They were trying to survive. How they would survive? They have to survive from animals, survive from weather, they have to survive from all the dangers. So to survive, their only intention was to survive, and they were hunter and gatherer. Nomadic existence. They had to hunt animals, and they used to shift bases. There was no settlement. So they had crude, from the stone tools, whatever they could make out of that. That was the place. Where did you find such thing? So the archaeology sites are Soan Valley, Pakistan, Bhimbetka, Madhya Pradesh, Hunsgi, Karnataka. Now, if you get a chance to see the internet, you will see all these places are very rocky places. There are rocks, there are caves, there are, dense forest. Obviously, today's era, we have kind of human has changed the entire world. But try to, go back to some 5,000, 6,000 years. Whatever you see, the climate has changed altogether. But those rocky area remains rocky, or that kind of area. It might be more greenery that time, maybe less today because of the climate change. But the geography shows that what kind of people would stay there and what would be their survival tactics. So Paleolithic age is about that. Now in Mesolithic age, started slowly from nomad to semi-nomad. What was the problem with hunting and gathering? Ki every time they had to find a wild animal or areas of animal where they could find and hunt and survive. They found it very, very difficult because as their population increased, the demand for food increased. When the demand for food increased, where simultaneously the demand for animal has to increase. But that did not happen because that is natural from the wild they were hunting. So they thought of domesticating animals. And that is when they started taming the animals. They started keeping, dogs, they started keeping sheep, they started keeping, you know, they were nomads, they were nomad tribes. They used to take their sheep and they used to take their dogs, they used to take their animals here and there and move with them. But they had their food source from the animal along with them. Now, for example, somebody who has been continuously in the previous Paleolithic era focused only on finding food and surviving from, dangers. Now, when he has domesticated animals, so he had some good time with him. What did he do of that time? He started, drawing, painting, rock art, things like that, innovating more tools, use of fire. All these things they started when they could spare some more time. The Mesolithic era became of that era. Then came Neolithic era. Now, from animal gatherer, this thing, what happened is they realized that if they could clean up the land and start farming, they can stay at one place. So that led to the foundation of agriculture coming in the picture. That is shift from hunting to farming, and then settled villages. Now, this you can relate in your own village. If you have gone to a village of India, you will realize that very similar pattern still exists like that. When you go to any part of the country you go for, because we are all culturally very similar, you will see there will be a water source coming. Near around that water source will be the farms. That farms is around that water source, or it is distributary of the water source. And then uh, one about, I mean, there will be like another 5-10 kilometers, you will see all the people live in one cluster. So that was how the agricultural settlement started. Lot of farm areas very near to the water source, and then human settlement as a cluster. So when they started living as a cluster or a colony or together, that also started creating exchange. If you are good at something, please, it's a human habit now. I don't know what you do, but youngster, if you remember, if you cook something and you see your neighbor has cooked something, you come together in the lunch hour and share your tiffins, or share your things. That is what the exchange of or bartering also started. If somebody was growing rice, then somebody was growing paddy, to somebody was growing cotton, so they could exchange because they were staying as a cluster. So this started in the Neolithic era with birth of agriculture and a settlement kind of a lifestyle. Now, when we see that Neolithical, what are the Neolithic era? You will see around 7,500 years from ago, and In Mehergarh, it originated in Pakistan, and Burza home in Kashmir, and where still the things are there, where the archaeological sites are there, and Chirand in Bihar. Now started in Chalcolithic age. I see when a human gets time from settlement farming happened, they could get more time. They could innovate. They could spend more time in innovation and finding new solutions. There, that led to the next era of Chalcolithic age. That is the start of metallurgy, dawn of metallurgy. Because of the settlement, because of the clusters, so staying at the village settlements, a trade network started. Like if you were settling at one place, there will be other clusters settling at that place. They could connect with each other and share or barter things. Then painted pottery became one of the most, what this pottery show. When you are doing agriculture, you will definitely grow some produce, either rice, paddy. You need something to store it. What is there to store it? You have to create pots for storing it. And that is how pottery became a big, big profession in demand, because with agriculture, there was a requirement of pots. So when the pots were made, also came because human is very artistic, creative, they want a visual appeal. They created diagrams, paintings in the pottery. So you will see there is a division of also what kind of pottery painting era is also divided in that. Then slowly, slowly they found copper, and copper was much stronger than what stone tools they were using. So they started using copper tools, and it was used in where? Agriculture and tool making. So some of the, uh, if you if you recall your old textbooks or photos or whatever you see, when they show prehistoric time, what they basically show, what kind of diagram they would have created. One is like hunting gathering kind of a system, or people coming together, dancing and marrying together, marrying figure together, or some animal representation, detailed observation. So these are the kind of prehistoric art which used to take care in that time. And let's now see from where to where human civilization happened in prehistoric time. In the Paleolithic nomadic existence from hunter-gatherer to there's a transitional period in Mesolithic adaptation where they started creating, domestication of animal and keeping seasonal movements, and then agricultural revolution in Neolithic time, creating settled communities, and then Chalcolithic or metallurgical area. Now, this is what was the context of prehistoric time. Uh, do you have any doubts, any thought, anything, any doubtfulness? Now, it sounds very easy, but easy in the sense to imagine today. But somebody, when you find an excavation and you put it at carbon dating and take back to that era, then you have to join clues. Okay, this would have happened. Okay, that would have happened. This should do. This is what the culture was. This is what would be challenge of them. This would be the food habit. This would be their agricultural practices. So from the evidence what they get today, they try to understand. In fact, when you see the village settlement, the way the huts are made where they stay is also very dependent on that particular geography. Most of the time, or maximum of the time, these tribes settled near water bodies. And you know the reason why. Because water was essential for life. For everything, water was required, and it was water bodies. Now, I don't know when was the last time you saw a river, because today everything we see through cameras and things like that. Today it is dammed, it is controlled, and it's all, it looks as if there is no water in the river. But in those era, there was no dam, there's nothing. Water used to flow like, free flow. So for them to understand where they should live, they cannot live directly inside of in near Ganga or this thing, because any day the thing would increase, the water flow level would increase, and it will, destroy the entire settlement. Floods will happen. So they created themselves at various places. And the first region or the first area where all this thing settlement mostly happened was this Pakistan, north of India, Pakistan, Punjab, around Sindh or Indus River. Okay. So that is why that era of settlement is also called as Indus Valley Civilization. That is our next chapter. But I'd hold on today with here itself. And I would, once I upload the lecture over the what we underwent now, I will also upload practice MCQs for you. You have to go through it, practice those MCQs. Or maybe you can open up your own books today and undertake the practice MCQs of that time, previous year question of prehistoric times. Coming to the trend of the uh, questions. See, recently, if you are giving prelims this year, I have also shared you a diagnostic test